Now, when you join the online course Japanese 1, you receive the Hiragana Masterclass as a free bonus. Find the sign-up link in the description. This lesson is a sample lesson from Japanese 1. So far in this course, we have been using this type of nominal sentence. Topic is noun. And as you learned previously, the wording in Japanese will be like this. In Japanese, you phrase it, トピックは noun です。So for instance, to say you are originally from Tokyo, you say, My origin is Tokyo. 出身は東京です。出身は東京です。To say, My hobby is hiking, you say, 趣味はハイキングです。趣味はハイキングです。To say, my father is American, you say, 父はアメリカ人です。父はアメリカ人です。So you can already make these affirmative nominal sentences. Now in this lesson, let's learn how to make them negative. I'm going to cover the present tense today, so it is equivalent to the is not, am not, are not noun in English. Okay, let's use these sentences as examples. To change them into negative sentences, you have to place this before this. じゃない。じゃない。So the ending for negative nominal sentences is じゃないです。じゃないです。My origin is not Tokyo is 出身は東京じゃないです。出身は東京じゃないです。My hobby is not hiking is 趣味はハイキングじゃないです。趣味はハイキングじゃないです。My father is not American is 父はアメリカ人じゃないです。父はアメリカ人じゃないです。That's it. It's pretty simple, right? But there are a few things that you need to keep in mind when you use this じゃないです ending. Please take notes. Point to remember 1. There are other versions of じゃないです。If you happen to have a Japanese textbook, you may see these versions in your book instead of じゃないです。It's either じゃありません or ではありません。In terms of meaning, these three versions are the same. They all indicate the negative form of des, which means is not, am not, or are not. However, じゃないです is the most conversational, and we usually use this version in everyday conversation. じゃありません sounds less conversational and it gives a slightly stiffer or harder sound. ではありません is the least conversational, and we usually use this one in the written language. So that's the difference between these three versions, and I'm going to stick to じゃないです in this course since it's most commonly used in conversation. Point to remember 2. じゃないです cannot stand on its own. What I mean by that is this. The noun and じゃないです together form one unit, and you cannot separate them. So you need to keep this part when you use じゃないです. For example, someone asks you, 学生ですか Are you a student? And let's say you want to respond, No, I'm not. In that case, you have to say,いいえ、学生じゃないです。いいえ、学生じゃないです。You cannot say, いいえ、じゃないです。You have to keep the noun before じゃないです。This is what I mean by じゃないです cannot stand on its own. Of course, you can also use this one that you have learned previously. いいえ、違います。いいえ、違います。Point to remember 3. じゃないです doesn't apply to adjectives. To say more precisely, じゃないです doesn't apply to one group of Japanese adjectives. We have two groups of adjectives in Japanese, and you can use じゃないです for one group, but not for the other. It's a little too complex to explain all the adjective conjugations in this lesson. So for now, just remember that you can change noun です to noun じゃないです。So this is perfectly fine. My father is not American. 父はアメリカ人じゃないです。However, this is incorrect. My father is not strict. You cannot use じゃないです here because strict is not a noun. It is an adjective. We do something entirely different for negative adjectives, and you will learn all about it in Japanese 5. I'll leave the link to the online course, Japanese 5 Adjective Master Course below this video, so you can join the course if you are interested. So these are the 3 points I want you to remember when you use the negative ending じゃないです。Okay, to wrap up today's lesson, let's make some negative sentences together. How do you say this in Japanese? Today is not Tuesday. The answer is 今日は火曜日じゃないです。今日は火曜日じゃないです。これはどうですか? What about this one? My father's job is not a lawyer. It's a little complicated sentence. Can you construct this? You may want to pause the video here and look up some vocabulary. Okay, here's the answer. 父の仕事は弁護士じゃないです。父の仕事は弁護士じゃないです。Here's the last one. 畳 is not food. Right. The answer is 畳は食べ物じゃないです。畳は食べ物じゃないです。よくできました。Well done in today's lesson. By the way, do you remember the パリコも that we have covered previously? Just so you know, you can also use the パリコも in a negative sentence like this. My mother's job is not a lawyer either. 母の仕事も弁護士じゃないです。So the flow of these two sentences will be like this. My father's job is not a lawyer. 父の仕事は弁護士じゃないです。My mother's job is not a lawyer either. 母の仕事も弁護士じゃないです。Like this, you can use the パリコも equally in affirmative and negative sentences in Japanese. Today's lesson was a sample lesson from my online course, Japanese One for Beginners. Right now, when you sign up for Japanese One, you also receive Hiragana Masterclass as a free bonus. Join the course while this special offer is available. I'm sorry if the free bonus is no longer available by the time you're watching this video. You can find the sign-up link for Japanese One in the Shoma section below. こんにちは、ゆうこ先生です。日本語オンライン学校スマイル日本語アカデミーで日本語を教えています。I have been teaching Japanese for many years to English-speaking learners in the USA, and now I provide online courses for learners worldwide. In my courses, you can learn Japanese in your spare time at your own pace, and I'm always be there to answer your questions and support your learning. If you are interested in learning Japanese with me, please go to smilenihongo.com/class to check available courses. I look forward to having you as my student and being part of your Japanese learning journey. 皆さんと一緒に日本語を勉強するのを楽しみにしています。ではまた次のレッスンで会いましょう。